Greetings, listeners. This is Shelby Cobras of Illogical Contraption Radio. I'm coming to you on an iPhone in my car on my lunch break. Why am I doing that? It's a long story. Let's get into it right now. So last night on our regular radio show, airing 6 to 8 p.m. on Radio Valencia.fm, we aired an interview I did with Mortis 2 weeks ago, a personal hero of mine, and it's a very important event. Our friend Pranjal sat in on the interview with me because he is our resident Mortis expert. We were very excited about presenting this to the people. A storm hit San Francisco last night, took out the Wi-Fi at Radio Valencia, destroyed everything. We could not have live listeners, nor did the podcast record. So we aired this pre-recorded interview, and no one heard it. It went off into the ether forever and disappeared, as did the entire show. The entire 2 hours gone. No one will ever hear it besides those of us that were in the room. Pranjal came all the way out from his home in Berkeley to join us on the show to give us a little backstory on the Mortis interview and some Mortis history. But yeah, the whole thing's gone. Luckily, we pre-recorded the interview, and we're going to present it here as a bonus episode this week on Illogical Contraption. Since we don't have a real show, we're going to give you just the raw interview. It's about half an hour long, and it's something to tide you over until we come back with a new show next week. Now, here's the crazy part, guys. Listen up. This will become more apparent if you choose to listen to or watch the recordings from our live show we did last week. As you may or may not know, we had the Bishop Alan Greenfield join us via Skype to do an invocation of the Archangel Metatron on stage with us at our live show. You know, no big deal, whatever. It was cool, it was fun. He's a funny guy. But what he discussed with us beforehand, and last time he was on our show, he told us about how he did a radio appearance on a radio station in Portland a couple years back, I guess, invoked some sort of demon or archangel or you know, entity. I'm not sure who or what it was supposed to be, but he did the same thing live on the radio at this radio station in Portland. Guess what happened? A tornado set down on the radio station. A storm came and knocked out their broadcast when he invoked that entity. Now, is it coincidence that the first radio show we did after his invocation with Metatron was knocked out by a storm? Seems kind of fishy to me. Kind of fishy. Anyways, this is me and Pranjal and a little bit of Corey interviewing Mortis from Norway. If you don't know who he is, you are a worthless pile of flesh and bone, and you should kill yourself. Mortis is awesome. Here's our interview. We'll catch up with you guys next Sunday. Thanks for listening, and R.I.P. Glenn Fry. Peace.
Hey, this is Shelby Cobras from Illogical Contraption Radio. It is New Year's Eve, and myself and my friend Pranjal,
hey, how's it going?
are on a Skype call with our hero and new best friend, Albert Ellison, who you might know by Mortis.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah.
Any big plans for this evening?
No, I'm afraid I don't. I mean, my lifestyle is so anti-rock and roll right now. It's almost embarrassing. I just drank the only beer we had.
Well, there's nothing wrong with staying in on New Year's Eve. It's what sensible people do. It's what I'm.
Yeah. At least I'll survive, you know.
Yeah. Bunch of fucking amateurs out there tonight.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Is it the same way in Norway, or is everyone just drunk all the time out there?
Yeah. I don't think we have a lot of, idiots doing idiotic stuff, if that's what you mean. But I mean, I'm sure we have a few. But the thing is, I'm such a hermit by now. It's like I don't even know what's going on. Outside my own fucking house, I barely know what's going on. So I wouldn't know.
You don't go out to the discos and party it up every night like we would imagine.
The discos? Is that what you said? What, are you like in 1979 or something? I thought it was 2015, dude. No. My sort of clubbing days, they lasted for about 2 months, and I just figured that, fuck that. I mean, I'm not into it, you know. So it's for the kids, I suppose. So I just kind of stay at home and I stay weird and mysterious.
Now, where do you live? Is it Fredrikstad? Is that close to the city, or is that kind of more like? Do you live in more like countryside?
It's kind of a city. I mean, it's not big or anything. I guess we got like, I don't know, like 60 to 80,000 people here, which is like really small by American standards. But over here is like mid-size for Norway. I mean, this is a really small country. I mean, you know, Oslo is the biggest city, and that's like 800,000 people or something like that. You know.
Oh, wow. So you don't, to dispel any rumors, you don't live in a castle surrounded by chained up female slaves, as we all.
Like the old Celtic frost cover.
Right. Yeah. That's what I pictured your living room looking like.
Yeah, me too, but it's not. Unfortunately, I wish, but no, it's more normal than that.
So now, you've been to our area before, right? We've heard from friends of ours who saw your show out in San Francisco. Maybe
I've been to
in the late '90s or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I've done 3 shows in San Francisco. Maybe even 4. I'm not sure. I mean, we did one in '97. That was the first time. Then we toured with Christian Death in '99. Christian Death and Godhead. I think we did San Francisco. And Danzig later on in 2005. I think we did like an outdoor place. Then with Jenna Tortures, I believe we dropped by San Francisco, and I stayed there for a few days with some friends. I've been there several times.
Okay.
Man, I wish we would have talked before then. We could have hung out.
Oh, well, last time, dude. Yeah, we'll be back. Yeah.
So do you have anything you want to dish on Danzig? Or would that be telling tales out of school? How was it being around Danzig? Is he cool? Is he weird?
With us, with Mortis, he was like the nicest fucking guy. And I'm not saying that just because I'm on the radio or whatever. I mean, the thing is, he was very, very nice. I mean, you know, I kind of got the impression he was kind of like a fan or something, but I don't know. I guess because, you know, I was still doing the mask thing, and I think he really connected with that. So, I mean, you got to remember he used to be in the Misfits, you know, so it's like he's obviously no stranger to having a heavy image.
Sure.
It was cool. He was very nice, man.
Any lasting memories of the Bay Area or San Francisco?
The Bay Area? I don't know if I ever actually went to the Bay Area, but obviously I know the story of all these bands there. But I mean,
yeah. Well, San Francisco is technically part of the Bay Area.
Right. Yeah. So like when we get to geography, that's when this sort of stupid me comes out because I'm not really.
Oh, that's fine. If you asked us about Norway, we'd probably be the same. So.
Yeah, it's like you tell me about Telemark and give me the background on that.
Yeah.
No. Give me a 5-minute lowdown on all the counties of Norway, you know. Yeah. So yeah, of course I know of the Bay Area, of course, because you know I grew up on metal. But I gotta be honest, I don't think I have like any sort of memories that are interesting in a sort of way from. I've been here from San Francisco. I mean, I enjoyed my time there, of course, but I mean, I don't think anything like amazing happened that specific, during the specific time that I was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as we're leaving 2015 here and entering 2016, do you have any big plans for the new year for Mortis and touring? Any dates in the States or?
And you guys have a new album coming out, I heard, right?
Yeah. I mean, that'll be the big thing. I mean, you know, March 4th, Great Deceiver finally gets released, and it's taken a long ass time for many, many reasons that are just too frustrating to get into. But so that's kind of like the big flagship of what's going on right now. It's just obviously the release of that record. In terms of touring, right now we're just talking about doing a UK tour. Would love to go back to the States, but I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you were to do that the right way, the legal way, you have to pay so much money right now for the work visas and all that stuff. When we went over with Mushroom Head, in last October.
Yeah, which just happened, right?
I'm sorry?
That just happened recently.
I'm not quite hearing you now.
Oh, that tour with Mushroomhead just happened recently, a couple of months ago.
Yeah. That was that was for entire month of October. And just the work visas for me and Levy, the guitar player, came to just under $4,000. And that was just for us to be... that was just for us to work there legally. I mean, obviously you have all these other costs on top of it, flights and transportation and, hotels and all that shit, So it's getting rough. I mean, unless you're getting paid like real money, it's getting pretty rough now.
Was it a rough tour? How was the tour overall?
Well, it was a van tour. That's always rough. It's not something everybody can handle. I'm not trying to make myself sound like a tough guy, but I mean, we've never been a big band. So I'm kind of every tour we've done in the States has been a van tour. So it's not like it's something new to me. I mean, I've slept many a nights in a van, and it's okay. It usually works. If it doesn't work, just get drunk. You'll pass out.
Yeah.
So but on this tour though, we didn't get a lot of beer. We had to buy them actually, which kind of sucked. But in their defense, Mushroom had paid us quite well, so it wasn't like we could afford to buy the beer, so it was okay, But
may I ask a question, guys?
Oh, hey, Corey.
No.
Okay, I'm out of here.
You're just a tech guy, man. Come on.
Well, I'm curious, 'cause since you're doing these tour vans with bands like Mushroomhead, who
right.
their crowd sometimes seems to be a lot of like the down home boys in maybe not so much sophisticated taste in music. Have you played any of these shows in America where maybe the audience didn't really get what you were getting at? Has there ever been some kind of confrontational, or usually are they pretty accepted?
It's never been confrontational, but I mean, there were certainly times where you sensed that we're just here for the main band,
right,
almost like a bit of an indifferent sort of attitude. Which it happens, man. I mean, when you support other bands, I mean, certain parts of the crowd, they'll be like, well, fuck you. We're here for, we're here for dancing, or we're here for Mushroomhead, or we're here for whoever. We're just like, okay, it's understandable, but I mean, at that point, it's your job to try to convince them and at least listen to what you're doing. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, It's all part of the game.
Yeah.
Well, myself and Pranjal, we were just sitting here watching the video for the lead single off of The Great Deceiver, Doppelganger.
Yeah. Right.
And I have to say, it has a very industrial, like, sort of ministry sound to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been into ministry for, more than 20 years. So, to me, that was kind of like a natural thing. I love ripping people off.
We'll
edit that out. Admitting that.
But yeah, I mean, the new stuff's really cool. But your whole career has been, it's been an evolution. It's been like a progression, like Pokemon or something.
I guess. I mean, I don't really know exactly why that is. I think I just kind of just go with whatever feels right, and usually it ends up being something different than the previous time. So it's not something I don't analyze it that much. I just whatever happens, really.
Right. So the first thing that I know that you played on, at least, was the Emperor stuff back in the day. The rap.
Yeah, that was. I mean, there's I did a few bands before that, like a couple of bands, but nothing that got actually recorded.
Right.
Emperor was like the first thing that was actually documented in any kind of way.
Right. And then you went solo shortly after that. You did the Wrath of the Tyrant, and then I think the Enslaved split as well.
Yeah.
And then you kind of went doing your own thing after that. Is it just easier to make music on your own, doing what you need to do?
I don't know. I think it kind of depends on what you're used to doing. And I started doing the solo thing so early on in my, I guess, quote unquote career, that to me that was a very natural thing to do for a long time. Actually, I mean, even today, I find it kind of weird to collaborate with other people, and especially on The Great Deceiver, I collaborated a lot with Levy. the guitar guy, since I don't play guitar myself and everything. I mean, I just kind of I have all these visions in my head, and I try to explain them to him verbally, do this, do that. No, you're doing it wrong. Come on, man. You're fucking it up. Oh, okay, that's good. Blah blah blah. So it's always a bit weird for me not being a sort of traditional musician like that to collaborate with people, but I got used to it. So between me and Levy, it works because we've known each other for so long now. But if I was going to go into the studio and just collaborate with somebody completely new that I don't know, I don't even know how that would work out. I mean, I'm sure he would figure that out. He would, after a while, we got to know each other, whatever. But
so as far as your current touring, when you came to the States, say, are just you and Levy coming over from Norway, and then you have people in the States that toured with you, or does the whole band?
It didn't used to be like that, but I mean, we had to shed a few members a while ago for various reasons. So at this point in time, yeah, it's me and Levy from over here in Norway, and there's Tim Van Horn out of New York on drums. We've known him for about 5 years. We've done a few tours together. He's absolutely amazing. He's perfect for this band. And then we had on the Mushroom Head tour, we had Jerry Montano on bass. That was the first tour we did with him. And I believe that was his first van tour, and I think it was kind of rough on him, but he handled it, Because he's been in bigger bands, so he's been used to a slightly higher level of touring. So I think he told me it was his first time in a van ever. And I was kind of surprised by that, because he's been around for a long-ass time. He's been in a lot of bands.
Start out.
Yeah. I guess he started out at a...
Or stay there in our case.
I don't know. He must have skipped a few of the steps that most of us take, And well, some people get it, some people don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I have two bookend questions for you, Mortis. Okay. You were saying that the evolutions through your career have just been sort of what feels right, just following your musical instinct or whatever. You're just going with the path that seems to be right for you. But I have to ask. When you left Emperor and started doing your solo thing, there must have been more explanation to the prosthetic nose and ears and the whole process, and it was just the right thing to do. Was there some sort of inspiration for it?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, first of all, when I started Mortis as a solo project, there was no mask and ears. That didn't happen overnight. That probably happened. I would say towards the end of 1993, so approximately a year into Mortis being a solo project, actually.
Was that just as a result of from being a recording project to doing it live?
I didn't do live shows for many years as a solo. I didn't do the first live show until 1996.
Oh, okay.
So actually, looking back, what kind of... what made the mask and everything sort of come into existence was I grew up on big image sort of larger than life bands in the late 70s, early 80s, like Kiss, Alice Cooper, and later on Wasp, Motley Crue. A lot of these American sort of big ass fucking big show bands,
Mm-hmm.
So that was definitely in my blood. I mean, I was still a big Kiss fan in the early sort of 90s, even when we were at our most sort of crazy-ass, narrow-minded, extreme black metal extremity sort of level. So I took that makeup, image, big, larger-than-life kind of mentality, I guess, and mixed it up with this sort of crazy fucking thing we had going on in the early 90s with the black metal attitude. And my love of Tolkien, the fantasy literature.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best response I can give you. I mean, that kind of gave birth to the Mortis look,
And
at that time.
It's still definitely an iconic thing. Any metalhead worth his salt knows exactly who that is in the picture with the pointy nose and the pointy.
Oh yeah, they would know exactly who to fucking dislike if they saw that.
Well, it's like you got pretty deep with that too. I mean, it was there was it was like you were creating these worlds, these fantasy worlds, and you know, you had the book, The Secrets of My Kingdom, and like that. So there was the whole, you know, there was a whole kind of story going on there with the characters.
Well, I mean, yeah, all the old Mortis albums were kind of based upon these various sort of ideas that were all taken out of that parallel universe that I was sort of creating and constantly evolving. And it was naturally, it was very Tolkien-esque and very inspired by that. But it was also, I think it was more primitive than that. Obviously, it didn't have a whole sort of map system, you know, languages and all that stuff. But hang on just one second.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm sorry, that was very unprofessional. Me and my son just came into the room and stole my my glass of soda. I tried to do it quietly.
It's okay. We can edit, or we can just leave it in.
Okay.
You know, you had a son.
Whatever. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me.
Sure.
Where was I?
The story and the world that you were creating, the parallel universe with
Oh
Mortis.
yeah. I was into all that stuff, and you know, we mentioned the Secret of My Kingdom book. That was sort of like the end result of all that stuff, everything gathered into one sort of compilation. But I mean, all the Mortis records up until and including the Stargate were all sort of based around that parallel world, you know. And a lot of kids got into it, like especially kids that were sort of like this, I guess, similar to me in terms of like being really into fantasy and role-playing games and all that stuff. Not that I was doing a lot of role-playing games, but did definitely connect with people like that.
Like the two of us sitting right here, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I strangely enough never really got into it. I mean, I tried one or two of them, and it was enjoyable. I guess I just wasn't really around a lot of other people that were into it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I promised a bookend question. Here's the other bookend. The prosthetics and the makeup and the costume have pretty much come off recently, and I guess
it's not actually. I'm sorry, did I interrupt?
No, go ahead.
Right. I mean, it's. I realize it seems like it's come off recently to like a lot of people, but to be honest, I mean, it came off probably about 10 years ago.
Oh, I remember the big video where, you know, it was almost like a reveal. I realize it probably come up before that, but the Decadent and Desperate video,
right?
Where it's kind of like you're coming to you and the prosthetic you are kind of shouting at each other and like, you know, fighting almost.
Yeah, I sometimes get a little deep and symbolic and probably very artsy-fartsy like that because, you know, I don't like to do anything cold turkey.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do things in, I guess, in a grand, I don't know, symbolic, artsy fucking way.
Right.
Sometimes, you know. So that was me.
For people who haven't seen the video, it basically starts off with the band as it was at that time, kind of in a motel room, and you're like kind of passing out, and there's a needle by your arm.
That was the director's idea. I mean, in hindsight, I think it's kind of cheesy.
But you kind of pass out and descend into this netherworld where you're confronted by your former self, almost.
Yeah, it's like you know, me kind of hating myself type of thing, which is kind of something that reoccurs a lot in my lyrics anyway, like a really conflicted personality.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is definitely exactly right. You know, it's me sort of trying to square off against myself and try to figure out what's going on and everything. So I totally was fucking artsy-fartsy.
And yeah, we noticed some artsy-fartsy things when we were watching a video for Doppelganger a moment ago, and then we went back and Parasite God from Smell of Rain, and you got that key in both of the videos.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision to bring that back? Is that like sort of an ongoing plot?
Yeah, back in those days, I liked to be a little bit mysterious, and I always used to say that I always had the keys to all my weird issues and hang-ups, but I couldn't find the door. Right, so that's it. That's really all there is. I mean, today I just like bringing that key back again because it's something that keeps haunting a lot of the stuff that I've done, like a ghost or something.
Mm-hmm.
it just creates fascination and mystery, and I kind of enjoy that. Yeah. It's not really a profound, big philosophical reason or anything like that.
Well, so you say, but it's
maybe it was back in the Parasite God days back in 2001 that I was deeper back there. I mean, these days I'm like, fuck it, whatever. Let's just do something cool.
So as far as things that also keep coming back, and you were mentioning your lyrics too, I noticed since I'm kind of like a Mortis Uber fan, the term the idea of the great machine keeps coming back in your lyrics. There's the nothing that I say or do matters to the big machine, or there's the I built you the great machine to amplify my fears. There's this kind of theme that keeps coming back. And is that something that you want to talk about? Is that something you can kind of?
You're bringing up some pretty old stuff. I mean, I really got to dig. It's really all down to that really only means society, the world, how it's cold. It doesn't really care. I mean, it's a terrible idea. I mean, if my family died tomorrow, the world would just keep going. I mean, nobody would really care except for me. My world would be destroyed. But the rest of society would just keep moving on, like this cold fucking entity that doesn't really care. It's not, and I don't expect it to care. But it's just kind of like a scary, shitty fucking thing when you think about it. For you as an individual. So, big machine. That's really all there's to it.
Yeah, that's like if I'm dead when tomorrow's gone, the big machine will just move on, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's just common. It's common, terrible, ugly sense. Unfortunately.
And I think on that note, I think we have ourselves an interview here. And I think we have the end of a year, and the machine rolls on into another one.
Hopefully a better one.
Halvard, can I don't have you on the phone often, so this is very special. So can I just ask you one thing while I have you real quick that I want to get your comment on? So 2015 was kind of like the year that black metal aesthetic, Norwegian black metal aesthetic specifically kind of broke mainstream as far as high fashion has co-opted it. The art world has kind of co-opted it. This little thing that kind of you and your friends created in a way has become popular to the point of, almost like parody. And do you have any feelings on that? Is this something you predicted or what do you think?
Well, as I said earlier, I mean, I'm kind of a hermit. I don't really pay a lot of attention. The only place that I really kind of exist a lot is on social networks because that kind of works for me and I like it. But yeah, I see what you mean, and eBay is now full of fucking mayhem, Dark Throne, Berserk, not Berserk because that's banned on eBay now. But
oh right, yeah.
I like all those bands. I don't know. No, I mean, I did not predict that would happen. I mean, back in 92, 93, when I was really heavily into this stuff, what's going on right now is the absolute anti-everything that we stood for back in those days. To the point of it's like a 180. It's the exact opposite of what we wanted. But then again, I mean, everybody has to live. I mean, we're not 18 anymore. Most of us, we have kids, we have families and everything. So in that sense, it's nice to see that people are actually buying it.
Yeah.
But it's weird. You can't get away from it. It is strange that something that got created for this dark fucking, I suppose, artistic reason is now just a product. Pretty much. That's the way the world sees it.
Yeah, I could have
sort of meaningful movement in art, something that actually means something. It's going to eventually, the mainstream's going to take it and turn it into the opposite of what it stood for.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of these bands have put out a lot of records since then. They've changed a lot, so obviously their attitudes, their expression is different. It's not the same thing anymore. It's not the hateful thing it might have been back in those days.
Do you still have that attitude, do you think?
No. I'm 40 years old. I mean, I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I have a job. I can't walk around like that. It's just not, when I was 18, I hated everybody. One second. Jag är snart färdig. Oh, my kids are fucking bothering me. So My daughter is 7, and she's really fascinated because she hears me speak English now, and she's also speaking like a little bit of English. So she's like, she actually said, "Are you almost done?" in English, because she knows I'm doing like a radio thing. She knows what that is. She's fascinated by the whole thing. So they're outside the door, eavesdropping on me.
Yeah.
There's a lot in regards to like being like a frustrated or hateful person or whatever. I mean, the way I used to be. Some of that remains, but I think it's directed towards healthier things. Like, I don't like fucking... what's the fucking word? Greedy, shitty, fucking rootless people. They deserve my fucking hatred. Those are the kind of people I direct. If you can call it hate or frustration, anger, resentment.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer directed at just anybody. I think it's more justified these days.
Right. Well, I mean, you might not be hateful anymore, like totally hateful, but like as your lyrics show, and as like you were saying you're a hermit, like you obviously still feel like kind of an outsider in the world, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're like me, you never quite fit in. I fit in fairly well when I make an effort, but there's always this little core inside that goes like, I don't belong here. I got no business here. But I mean, I'm just a good fucking actor, and I make myself fit in. But I don't know what. It's not always a natural feeling, I think. But I'm a weirdo, It's no doubt about it. But that's just the way I was born.
All right. My friend, it's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. We'd like to let you get back to your family.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure. Really, like it's a dream come true for me.
Oh, cool. Absolutely. My pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Have a good night and a wonderful 2016. And hopefully we'll see you back in San Francisco sometime in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great. And thank you, and likewise. And I'll talk to you later.